All right. This, boys and girls, is a coordinate plane, as you remember seeing yesterday. If I wanted to graph points on a coordinate plane, I have 4 different types of points that I can graph. Now let me just draw a picture again. This is the same picture that I drew yesterday, so if you're wondering if I'm repeating myself, I am. A coordinate plane is split up into 4 quadrants. Quadrant 1 is up here, quadrant 2 is over here, quadrant 3 is over here, and quadrant 4 is right there. Okay, you start at the top right, work your way counterclockwise. In quadrant 1, and remember, points are given to you in XY format. In quadrant 1, you have your plus X values and your positive Y values. You have your positive X values and your positive Y values. So if I give you the point 3, 5, you graph that in quadrant 1. If I give you the point -3, 5, you graph that in quadrant 2. Quadrant 2 is your negative X values and your positive Y values. Quadrant 3 is a double negative, -3, -5, and quadrant 4 is something like +3, -5. Okay, so if you have so X either goes right if it's positive or left if it's negative, and your Y value will go up if it's positive or down if it's negative. Now let's take that information and graph a few points. Let's start out with A, which is 3, do I have space? No, 3, 3. Starting out too easy. A is 3, 3. Now if I want to graph 3, 3, what I do is, since that's a positive X, I go to the right 3, and then I go up 3 because that's a positive Y. So I start out at the center, which is my origin, and I go right 1, 2, 3 spaces, and I go up 1, 2, 3 spaces. I put a dot there, and I call it A. Okay? What about B? What if I want to graph -4, 7? A negative X value means that I go left 4 spaces, and then a positive Y value means I go up 7 spaces. So I start at my origin, and I go left 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, put a dot there where you can't see, and call it B. Bing! Every time my phone dings, an angel gets his wings. True story. True story. How about C? C is going to be, let's do -7, -1. I'm going to start at my origin. -7 means left 7, and -1, which is a Y value, means down 1. So I'm going to start at my origin, and I'm going to go left 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and I'm going to go down 1, put a circle there, call it C. Silencing my phone. I'm just too popular. D, I want to be 8, -5. Positive X value, negative Y value. Start at the origin, go right 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Put a dot there, call it D. Okay, let me squeeze in 2 more. Squeeze in 2 more. How about E? I'll make -5, 0. And then F, I'll make 0, -7. If I wanted to graph -5, 0, I have a negative x value. So I go left. And then I have a 0, which is don't move. So E, I go left 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times, put a circle there, call it E, and then I don't move because that 0 says stop, which means you don't go up and you don't go down. 0, -7 is similar, but be careful. That 0 means you don't move left or right, and then you go down 7 spaces. So don't move left or right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Put a circle there, call it F. Okay? Okay. So those are coordinates being graphed on a coordinate plane. In chapter 4, we are doing a lot of graphing points on a coordinate plane. Yeet! What we also did yesterday was we dealt a lot with negatives, which is fantastic, but we also dealt a lot with simplifying fractions. So we're going to simplify a few fractions. Not a ton, just a few. So my directions are going to be simplify. And we're going to do 4 of them. Maybe more. I want to simplify 12 over 15. Is 12 over 15 simplified? No. A fraction is only simplified if you can't take one of these numbers and divide any further. If there is a number that you can divide both 12 and 15, you can simplify. The number that I can divide both 12 and 15 by is 3. So if I divide the numerator by 3 and the denominator by 3, what I get is 4 over 5. Can I simplify 4 over 5 anymore? Nope, because I can't divide 4 or 5 by any number and have that number get smaller. Problem 2. How about 52 over 64? At the very least, I know I can divide the numerator and the denominator by 2. How do I know that? Well, they're both even. So I'm going to divide the top by 2 and the bottom by 2. When I do that, I get 52 divided by 2 is 26, and 64 divided by 2 is 32. And then you might look at that and say, gasp! Those are both still even numbers. I'm not done yet. So then what you do is you keep going. Divide the top by 2 and the bottom by 2 again. 26 divided by 2 is 13. 32 divided by 2 is 16. Can I divide 13 and 16 by any number and have it both work? Nope. So that's that. Tricky. So you may be able to simplify once and realize that you have to simplify again. Or maybe, just maybe, you can simplify it by a larger number. So if I give you something like 75 over 100, sure, I can divide the top and the bottom by 5. Sure, I can divide the top and the bottom by 5. But some of you might be thinking, I can actually divide the top and the bottom by 25. That's called the greatest common factor. When you realize that you can divide by a much larger number instead of taking turns dividing by 5 and then having divide by 5 again, if you just divide by 25, you can just get it all done in one foul swoop. Boom, boom. Great. As Tony the Tiger says, great. Or is that Daniel the Tiger? I can't tell. Oh, Daniel Tiger. What an adorable little rascal. What an adorable little rascal indeed. Oh my gosh. What the heck is that? Mr. Parrot, you're thinking. That's an improper fraction. Oh, teacher back in the day says we should never have a large number up in the numerator and a smaller in the denominator. Whoever taught you that is a liar. Is a liar, and we don't listen to that teacher. I am your teacher now, me. You can't see it, but I'm pointing my pen at myself. Me, I'm your teacher. And I say improper fractions are good, good, good. And they follow the same exact rules. These are both even. So I can divide both of these by 2. And I get 4 over 3, which is improper. Who cares? In chapter 4, we're going to deal a lot with something called slope. And slope is given to us as an improper fraction, never a mixed number. It's either going to be a regular fraction or an improper fraction, nothing else. Let's throw a negative in front of it. Let's be adventurous, shall we? Let's do 98 over 14. I have an even number over an even number. So I have an improper fraction and it's also negative. Does that change anything? No and no. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to divide the top by 2 and the bottom by 2. Do it. And that gives you negative, because the negative is not going to go away. 98 divided by 2 is 49. 14 divided by 2 is 7. Wait a minute. I know what 49 divided by 7 is. It's just negative 7. Do I have to write it out as an improper fraction? No. You could. You could say negative 7, but this is fun too. And I'm all about having fun. I'm all about having a good time and getting some laughs and just enjoying the day. Well, those of you who watched the video this morning saw a lot of solve for y type problems. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to do 4, maybe 6 of those before we call it a day. They're easily one of the harder things that you'll deal with in this class, and that's okay. I'm here. I'll be there for you. Don't you worry. Solve for y. So where are we? Problem 6. So I have y minus 3x equals 5. Is y all by itself? No. What's in the way? I have a negative 3x that's just floating around. A negative 3x that's just floating around, minding its own business. I have to get rid of it. How? Add 3x to both sides, cross u out. That leaves me with y equals 3x plus 5. My pen is dying. Now you might be thinking, whoa, 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 whoa. Why isn't it 5 plus 3x? Good question. I always like my variable to go first. And in this chapter, we're going to learn something called slope-intercept form. And in slope-intercept form, the variable always, 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 always goes first. That's just the way it is. Tupac once said that. And why should we change it? So now y is all by itself. Good job, everybody. Problem 7. Let's do 2y equals 3x minus 8. Is y all by itself? No. I have a 2 attached to y. So the best way to get rid of that attachment is do the opposite. 2 is being multiplied to y, so I'm going to divide everything by 2. Divide everything by 2. Everything. Y equals 3 divided by 2 is just 3 over 2. It's an improper fraction. That's fine. I like improper fractions. X comes along for the ride. Minus 8 divided by 2 is going to be 8 over 2, which is 4. I don't know what problem we're on. 8. 8, 8, 8 is great. Is y all by itself? No. Not even close. I have a negative 3x floating around. I also have a 2 attached to it. Always get rid of the guy that's floating around first. And the way we do that is we do the opposite. We add 3x to both sides. We add 3x to both sides, cross u out. Drop down what's left on the left. 2y equals, do 3x and 8 combine? No. So I'm going to attach 3x first and then add 8 to it. Am I done? No. Is y all by itself? No. 2 is still attached. How do I get rid of the guy that's attached? Divide by 2, divide by 2, divide by 2. Divide everything by 2. Y equals 3 over 2, just like the last time, is an improper fraction and it doesn't simplify. Keep it that way. 8 over 2 is 4. Is y all by itself now? Mm-hmm. Let's throw a few negatives in here. 5x minus 2y equals 7. Negative. No. Is y all by itself? No. What's in the way? That 5x is floating around. That negative 2 is attached. How do I get rid of that positive 5x that's floating around? That positive 5x that's floating around, subtract 5x, subtract 5x. Cross u out. Drop down the negative 2y. Drop down the equals. Do 7 and negative 5x combine? No, because one has a variable and the other one doesn't. So I'm going to write out negative 5x positive 7. Is y all by itself? No. I have negative 2 in the way. How do I get rid of a negative 2 that's in the way? Divide everything by negative 2. Divide everything by negative 2. Divide everything by negative 2. Cross u out. Drop down the y. Drop down the equals. Negative divided by a negative is a positive. 5 over 3 doesn't simplify, so keep it as positive 5 over 2, not 3. Positive 5 over 2, because negative 5 over negative 2 is positive 5 over positive 2. Bring down the x. Does 7 over negative 2 simplify? Nope. But 7 over a negative is minus a negative. And then 7 over 2. Phew. Gross. 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 Oh, boy. It's fun, though, right? So much fun. What I'm going to do is I'm hoping that every single one of you, now, if you really want to be a part of the Cool Kids Club, Every single one of you is sitting there with scrap paper ready to try one of these or both of these on your own. So that's what you're going to do. I'm going to give you 2 of them, and I want you to take some scrap paper, and I'm going to give you about 3 minutes. I'm just going to sit here for 3 minutes, and I want you to do these completely on your own. So let me write them out. Giving you 3 minutes. Give you about 30 more seconds. All right, do me a favor. Before I move on, somebody unmute themselves and tell me you can hear me. I just want to make sure you guys can hear me because this was an issue with another class before.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Cool. All right, so let's take a look at these and then we'll call it a day. Is y all by itself? No. What's in the way? 3. How do I get rid of the 3? Divide everything by 3 and cross u out. Y equals negative 2 over 3. Well, wait a minute. Doesn't negative 2 over 3 simplify? No. X plus 6 over 3. Well, that does simplify to 2. Is y all by itself? We're going to be doing this a lot in chapter 4. A lot. So if you're not good at these, then you need to go to my chapter 1 videos where it's called Rewriting Equations and watch them. Watch them a trillion times. No, 1,000,001 times. Is y all by itself? No. What's in the way? I have a 2 that's attached. Actually, not a 2, but a negative 2 that's attached. And I have a 4x that's just floating around. How do I get rid of the 4x that's just floating around? Minus 4x minus 4x. That crosses out. Drop down the negative 2y. Drop down the negative 4x. Drop down the 8. Why did I write it out that way? Why didn't I combine them? Well, they don't combine. You know that. You know that. They don't combine at all. And then you always put your x value first. You'll see later why we do that. Divide everything by negative 2. Divide by negative 2. Divide by negative 2. Pew, pew. Y equals negative 4 divided by negative 2 is positive 2. Regular old 2. How about that? Catch me outside. How about that? Remember that girl? Bad baby. Oh man, she is a good musician, I'll tell you. Dr. Phil wasn't a big fan of her, but good musician, good talent. 8 divided by negative 2 is negative 4. I can't think of a better way to end this class than to talk about Bad Baby for 12 more minutes. So let's do that. I'm just kidding. I'm going to end the video.